Other 3rd Division companies also assisted in battle, resulting in over 250 casualties, including battles elsewhere, casualties numbered in the thousands. The demilitarized zone battle ended with South Korea suffering heavy losses but devastating North Korean forces. Now it was time to enter North Korean territory. However, since the South Korean army spent too much time in the demilitarized zone battle, Korea's damage worsened. Korea needed a quick end to the war, but it was becoming a drawn-out conflict. Suspected Chinese cyber attacks continued. This cyber attack was not just about hacking the military's internal network, but it was serious enough to cause significant disruptions to actual operations. China attacked Korea's computer systems, disabling them with computer viruses such as worms, ransomware, and malware, or through hacking. A cyber attack targeted public institutions, private facilities, and major infrastructure. In some areas, 20% of power was cut, leaving many residents without electricity for a day. Also, due to the hacking of the dam's water level control computer system at Paldang, there were cases where the water level of the Han River rose rapidly. The military was no exception. Due to internal intrusions, some of Korea's air traffic control systems were also hacked. Main operational plans were sometimes fully leaked to North Korea and China. In addition, China used its powerful cyber warfare capabilities to intercept the movement routes of the South Korean military in real time and prepare for ambush attacks. South Korea's military cyber warfare abilities have just surpassed the beginner stage, reaching about 70-80% of advanced nations levels. They were powerless against China and could only respond to its cyber warfare with help from allies like the United States. This is Gaeseong on the road from Haeju. The war was entering a new phase. The Republic of Korea Army's 1st Corps was advancing toward Gaeseong when a sudden cyber attack created an unexpected crisis. North Korean and Chinese forces jammed global positioning system signals, disrupting South Korean military communications and preventing units from knowing each other's positions. On the PRD global positioning system was so disrupted it showed the 9th Division in Pyongyang. In some cases, our supply vehicles were detected in real time and ended up being bombed. Because of that, the operation, which was already delayed, was at risk of being delayed even further. Additionally, as I said before, our troops faced sporadic ambushes in several areas. The North Korean army ambushed our troops on main roads and high ground. The North Korean army was mostly wiped out by our troops' firepower, but this kept delaying the operation. The 1st Division Command lowered their heads in the tense atmosphere as the operation faced unexpected delays and rising casualties. Just an hour ago, the lead company was ambushed by North Korean forces while advancing. In the lead company, 2 were killed and 6 wounded, but they killed 27 North Korean soldiers. Approaching Gaeseong, ambushes grew fiercer, making us increasingly tense. Major General Yang Hyuk-jun, commander of the 1st Division, calmly stood up, took a deep breath, and spoke quietly but firmly. Major General Yang Hyuk-jun, a devout Christian, said we were in a wilderness and God would guide us through the chaos. The staff looked briefly flustered, but Major General Yang Hyuk-jun calmly picked up his baton and examined the operations map. If global positioning system signals are disrupted and we can't determine our location, we'll have to navigate the battlefield manually. Major General Yang Hyuk-jun ordered enhanced visual reconnaissance. They mobilized all the drones they had to observe changes in Gaeseong City and check the defensive lines, while the forward reconnaissance teams and sniper teams positioned themselves to be able to snipe into Gaeseong City. Gaeseong City felt like a fortress, with North Korean soldiers, Chinese private military company ambushes in every building, and IEDs everywhere. They also saw a drone base. Though North Korean troop numbers in Gaeseong weren't at corpse level, some soldiers hid in buildings and used tactics to attack our forces. So our troops had to clear them room by room, enduring heavy casualties. Urban warfare is completely different from fighting in open fields. Even if our troops are overwhelmingly superior in combat power, it's inevitable that we'll suffer heavy losses. After taking control of Gaeseong with overwhelming firepower, we had to send in the infantry to capture the city. North Korean forces and the Chinese private military company tried to lure us into urban combat to cause more casualties. Major General Yang Hyuk-jun recited Bible verses telling us not to be afraid, but honestly, who wouldn't be scared in a situation like this? We're just pretending not to be afraid. Major General Yang Hyuk-jun felt fear, but tried to overcome it with faith. Major General Yang Hyuk-jun overcame his fear and raised troop morale by personally visiting the battlefield and briefing platoon leaders. That boosted the soldiers' morale. During this time, each brigade's intelligence companies and reconnaissance battalions played key roles. They created special assault teams ahead of time to attack North Korean forces ambushing the South Korean army. Snipers, intelligence units, and recon battalions at Gaeseong Church relayed which parts of Gaeseong to bomb. Air Force, Navy, and artillery firepower all targeted that location. Gaeseong was carpet-bombed, buildings collapsed. As debris piled up, the North Korean army had more places to hide. Meanwhile, the Republic of Korea Marine Corps decided to carry out a surprise landing operation in the Haeju area to coincide with the First Corps attacking Gaeseong. Attacking Haeju would force the North Korean army to fight on two fronts, weakening their Gaeseong defenses. The purpose of this operation was to strike the North Korean forces concentrated in the Battle of Gaeseong from the rear, splitting their front into two and giving the First Corps an advantage in their advance. However, the problem was that since the United States was acting almost as if it were neglecting this war, the Republic of Korea Marine Corps had to carry out the landing operation on their own. This led to backlash in the Marine Corps, with some calling the operation excessively reckless. At the time, the Republic of Korea Marine Corps couldn't conduct large-scale landing operations independently. The Republic of Korea Marine Corps planned amphibious landings with the United States Marine Corps. Instead of independent large-scale amphibious operations, the plan was to operate with United States military support. This amphibious landing was conducted solely by the Republic of Korea Marine Corps without United States Marine Corps support. Technological advancements have made destroying landing craft much easier than before. Right now, both the North Korean and Chinese forces possess a large number of modern anti-ship missiles. Even firing just a few of them can inflict tremendous damage on the landing forces. Chinese PMCs and North Korean forces are known for effectively using suicide drones. They'll likely attack the landing craft with these, and current air defense systems struggle to counter them. With advanced technology, warships and landing craft would likely be detected by enemy surveillance as soon as they move, so North Korean forces would probably respond before the landing starts. China used cyber warfare to uncover our military routes, including Marine Corps landing operation details. North Korean and Chinese forces anticipated a landing at Haeju and prepared ahead. This is the Marine Corps headquarters discussing the operation. Heated debates often occurred here. They openly argued with the Marine Corps commander, claiming it was too dangerous for Marines to land at Haeju alone. Landing without an aircraft carrier or enough naval power is risky, but Marine Corps Commander Lieutenant General Hwang Hyun-tae remained resolute. Commander Hwang Hyun-tae questioned the purpose of the Marines, saying if they remain inactive out of fear, there's no reason for the Marine Corps. He said that as the army fights in Gaeseong, we must join forces here too. Commander Hwang Hyun-tae of the Marine Corps spoke with authority and pressure, leaving those who knew his true thoughts to sigh. Commander Hwang Hyun-tae aimed to make history in this war. He aimed to appear as a bold, decisive commander and sought chances to showcase his contributions. He wanted to be remembered as someone who elevated the status of the Marine Corps. That's why he tried to push forward with the operation, even though he knew it was dangerous. The 9th Marine Brigade commander asked to withdraw, but Marine Corps Commandant Hwang Hyun-tae cited Marine Corps spirit, saying the request showed a lack of willingness to risk their lives in battle. Despite strong opposition from Marine Corps leaders, Commandant Hwang Hyun-tae ordered the Haeju landing operation using the 2nd Marine Division and 9th Marine Brigade. The South Korean military uses over-the-horizon landings for amphibious operations, but improved technology has enhanced land-to-ship attack capabilities. This has made it easier for the enemy to spot us from afar. Over-the-horizon amphibious operations, introduced by the United States military in the mid-2000s, is a new concept. I'll explain what it means. The concept is to deploy amphibious forces from beyond the horizon, more than 40 kilometers away from the coast, where they are hidden below the horizon and cannot be detected by the enemy's ground-based radars. Outdated landing craft and old amphibious vehicles can't reach the beachhead, letting defenders prepare, so you need many costly, fast amphibious assets like the V-22 helicopters or LCACs for maritime operations. Our military still uses this amphibious operation, though it's now seen as outdated. Now, large-scale amphibious operations are rarely conducted, and the focus has shifted toward emphasizing small-scale amphibious operations. Korean Marine Corps tactics and strategies rely on outdated thinking. The Haeju amphibious operation was flawed from the start. They'd been spotted by North Korean military and Chinese private military company surveillance. The Haeju amphibious assault used LCSCs and landing craft, but North Korea and China had anti-ship missiles and suicide drones ready. A major disaster happened when the operation started. Sometimes, a third of Marine Corps landing craft and assault vehicles were sunk before reaching shore. Some Marines barely managed to land, but there were cases where they were attacked by suicide drones. The Haeju coastline was truly a living hell. As the Marines landed, North Korean artillery opened fire, and the Chinese private military company launched drone suicide attacks. On top of that, North Korea used the Gaeseong-3 anti-ship missile to attack South Korean Navy vessels. Some Marines barely landed and faced heavy beach resistance, nearly unable to advance. The Marines planned a rapid advance after landing, but enemy defenses were tougher than expected. Screams and groans echoed all around. Many soldiers drowned, but Commander Hwang Young-tae hesitated to order a retreat. He held out to make a name for himself, causing increasing Marine losses. After strong requests from the staff in the valley, the order to retreat was finally given 3 hours after the operation began, and the Marines had to withdraw after suffering heavy losses without achieving anything. There were 357 dead and missing, and 814 wounded. 6 landing crafts were sunk, and the loss of armored vehicles and equipment was also very serious. The Haeju landing operation is recorded as one of the most devastating defeats in the history of the Republic of Korea Marine Corps. Due to the failure of the Haeju landing operation, the balance of the battlefield tilted slightly in favor of North Korea. It was only the 3rd Battalion that was defeated. This is the new Gangi Training Center. This training center stands out because Russian instructors, not North Korean ones, conduct the training. We learned advanced tactics, strategies, and combat methods from the war in Ukraine. Joseon secretly investigated this area and pinpointed its location and size. Consequently, the world learned of Russia's deep involvement in the war. The Republic of Korea strongly condemned Russia and began denouncing it with evidence from the National Intelligence Service and government. They revealed that Russia is training North Korean troops and supplying firearms, equipment, and ammunition. Russia responded by calling it fake news, but all the evidence was true and clear. Because of this, the international community strongly condemned Russia. Of course, this international community was mainly centered around the Western world, but the Western world's strong condemnation of Russia and China became an opportunity for them to gradually support Korea. According to Joseon, Korea destroyed the Gangi Training Center by launching a Hyunmoo missile at it. This was possible thanks to Joseon sending detailed coordinates. The Gangi Training Center was struck exactly 48 hours after Joseon sent the information. As a result, 3 Russian training instructors were killed, and 139 North Korean trainees who were training there also died. Many were injured as the area was heavily bombed and completely leveled. Russia couldn't even protest to Korea. They claimed neutrality in the Second Korean War, so reports of Russian training instructors being killed would undermine Russia's stance. So they let it go. The new Joseon was impressively active in many areas. Although their goal differed from South Korea's reunification aim, they cooperated because both wanted to overthrow the North Korean regime. The new Joseon kept harassing North Korea from behind. This is Anju. It was a major North Korean military supply base, with Pyongan-namdo holding most key supplies. After the war began, the North Korean army moved most fuel and ammunition storage here. If this place were hit, the North Korean army's war capability would be greatly reduced. After secretly infiltrating part of the cabinet, Joseon got this information and planned to strike Anju. Joseon was an anti-government group aiming to overthrow North Korea's regime, but was not officially allied with South Korea. They were an organization seeking to become North Korea's new regime, aiming for democracy. They cooperated unofficially with South Korea due to their shared goal of overthrowing the North Korean regime. This time, the target was North Korea's military fuel storage facility. Joseon formed a special ops team and infiltrated past North Korean military surveillance. They slipped past the guard post during the overlapping shift change and moved quickly with silenced pistols. They moved quite professionally, taking out the guards at the post with just 2 shots from their pistols. New Joseon operatives set C4 explosives from the National Army on the fuel storage's outer wall. They already knew the internal structure, and their plan was to engulf the entire fuel storage in flames with a single explosion. The new Joseon operatives retreated quickly, and the C4 detonated soon after. The new Joseon operatives retreated, leaving North Korean soldiers to fight the fuel storage fire. We destroyed a North Korean fuel storage facility in Anju, severely impacting fuel supplies to the North Korean military and the Chinese private military company. Not only that, but New Joseon also cooperated with South Korean special forces. After destroying the fuel storage, the 707th Special Mission Group and underwater demolition teams secretly infiltrated North Korea's rear area. There, they worked together with New Joseon operatives to attack the North Korean rear area. This place is a North Korean command post in the Anju area. Here, they achieved a remarkable feat by killing 1 battalion commander and 35 North Korean soldiers. New Joseon taunted the North Korean army via radio, while sabotage and assassinations persisted in North Korea's rear. North Korea's infrastructure has been attacked 32 times by New Joseon recently. That's a lot. New Joseon continuously destroyed major North Korean military bases and assassinated key officers, thoroughly preparing for the overthrow of the regime. And since various information kept leaking to South Korea, for North Korea, New Joseon was an entity that absolutely had to be eradicated. The North Korean State Security Department led the operation. Despite missile strikes killing many top State Security Department officials during assassination operations targeting South Korea's leadership, the department remained organized. North Korea's State Security Department, the secret police behind political purges, enforced strict measures to stop regime collapse after Kim Yo-jong's death. State Security Department agents held a briefing in an underground bunker and ordered the complete suppression of all rebellion in North Korea. They were especially fed up with the subversive activities in Joseon and were raising their voices, demanding that this issue be resolved as soon as possible. The State Security Department began a major arrest operation against suspected New Joseon affiliates. There were innocent citizens, but the State Security Department didn't care and threatened to execute anyone who resisted during the traitor hunt. Terrified citizens were dragged out and brutally beaten. Dozens of people were purged on that day alone. A North Korean state security agent brutally tortured a Sei Joseon agent prisoner by pulling out their fingernails. As a result, the Sei Joseon agent revealed some operational details. North Korea did more than just basic purges. During the operation, the North Korean state security agent got some of Sei Joseon's information by torturing a captured Sei Joseon agent. In this process, they also succeeded in identifying the Sei Joseon agents who had been sent by the new cabinet and even found their hideout. The captured Sei Joseon operatives ended up being subjected to brutal torture. This put Sei Joseon in a serious crisis. Knowing the captured operatives would soon confess, they had to abandon their current project. Also, there were cases where someone, in order to survive, ended up betraying the organization even though they were a Sei Joseon agent. The organization was so badly damaged they couldn't operate for some time. As a result, Sei Joseon requested emergency help from the Republic of Korea Special Forces Command. This is Nonsan Training Center. After a full mobilization order, new recruits flooded in as the wartime system began. All men over 18 who hadn't enlisted were now required to join the military. Of course, there were a few people who ran away, but they were a very small minority. Many people often say this. People often say that they'll be the first to run away if a war breaks out, but when war actually started, only a very small number of people ran away, and there were even situations where everyone volunteered to enlist to defend the country. In the end, there were even cases where Koreans living overseas returned to the country and voluntarily enlisted to defend the nation. Some foreigners volunteered for Korea and fought with the Korean military without completing 4 weeks of camp training. In a wartime situation, new recruits receive only 2 to 3 weeks of training at the training camp before being immediately assigned to their units. They learn just 3 combat essentials: shooting, chemical, biological, and radiological training, and grenade use, before quick assignment due to high personnel demand. 4th Division's recruit training battalions became combat units, with all training moved to the Nonsan Training Center. Here, thousands and tens of thousands of troops were being sent to the battlefield every week. The training center was utter chaos. The trainees looked inexperienced, but you could see their determination to protect the country in their eyes. But in those dark eyes, there was also clear fear. Meanwhile, every military unit in the Republic of Korea succeeded in recording 100% of the letters. Some units even exceeded 100%. Especially in the mobilization divisions, they received additional mobilized resources, completed their units, and were even deployed to the front lines. These were mobilization divisions of recruits and reservists. They were grouped into corps-level units by the Army Mobilization Forces Command and sent to the Western Front in Gochang. Time was critical. The Scorpion unit gained a wide reputation as the sole ruling party unit at the northernmost point. They fought so well that the Chinese private military company nicknamed them the strongest man. After the outbreak of the war, the Scorpion unit, which had been the Korea Combat Training Center Specialized Opposing Force Regiment, was immediately reorganized into the 2nd Mountain Brigade now. As a special operations unit facing the North Korean and Chinese forces, they were being deployed to various fronts. When the 12th Infantry Division struggled to secure a bridgehead in the demilitarized zone, they were sent in and quickly defeated the North Korean forces and Chinese private military company. This time, they were deployed along the Taebaek Mountains to the area around Mount Gumgang. Their mission was to launch a surprise attack on the rear of the North Korean forces, cut off their supply lines, eliminate the North Korean command, and collapse the defensive network on the Eastern Front. However, this operation was not an easy one. The Scorpion unit had to infiltrate right into the middle of the North Korean Eastern Front, deep inside enemy territory. They were deep inside enemy territory. They had already approached within 5 kilometers of their target, aiming to reach the objective within 3 hours. They approached via radio. However, North Korean reconnaissance soldiers were watching them. After successfully observing them through binoculars, the North Korean scouts quickly disappeared somewhere. Mortars then rained down on the Scorpion unit as North Korea opened fire. Then, with an unpleasant sound as the wind brushed by, mortar shells began heading toward the Scorpion unit. As the mortar shells landed directly on the Scorpion unit, they quickly became alert. It was a crisis for the Scorpion unit.
See you in the next video. For watching.
Thank you for subscribing and liking. See you in the video.
In the next video.